Thank you. Whew. So I, without giving away confidentiality, I am a CASA.
Too late.
Which is a court-appointed special advocate for foster children. And I have a child, a case child, who's assigned to me. And he's 10 years old, and he's had a really traumatic life.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happened to him. And he's a wonderful kid, but he has a lot of behaviors that are due to mental delay, things in his mind. He's not well. And so I try to connect with him, and I try to do the best that I can. And there's some significant differences. I don't have kids. I'm 36 and I don't have kids. And I have 5 younger brothers, but I don't really know from kids nowadays. They seem very different. I mean, my younger brothers, I would just give them a cross look and they knew, like, oh, don't mess with her right now. But this kid is like, he is very different. Like, not just the mental stuff, but he's like, they're rougher or something. I don't know how to describe it. And so I try to relate with him and like get him to do things, but and talk to him. But mostly I just try to like hold love for him. But then he I think he feels like I'm not paying attention to him or whatever, but I just don't know what to say. And lately there's been a lot of issues between us because we're getting closer, we're spending more time, but it feels like there's this strife. Like I try to do things that are more active or engaging so we have something to talk about, and it seems like there's resistance there. And
well, there are a number of things that we want to say to you. And we want to start by acknowledging, as you acknowledged, that he had quite a bit of momentum going before you came into his experience. And we understand that you have put yourself in a place of co-creating with him. In other words, you didn't create an environment that says, I just want to have playful, wonderful children come to me. You said, I want to be of value to people. I want to be an advantage to people. I want to help people have a second chance. I want to help. I am a teacher who wants to assist people in maybe shifting their vibration into a place that will serve them more. So you attracted him into your experience from this place of wanting to uplift and wanting to be of value. So here he is in your experience, but he's got a lot of momentum going, so he's not an easy experience for you because his expectation of you has been trained. He created his point of attraction based upon the way life was touching him. And so he has a lot of anger, and he has a lot of justification and a lot of resentment, as well as a tremendous amount of desire, as well as a very powerful inner being who is guiding him along the path of least resistance to all that he wants. So things are working out for him, and things are working out for you. And they're working out for you together in a very powerful way. So now we can have this discussion easily with you in light of everything else that we've been talking about here today, because you have the opportunity to see very clearly, and because of what you just described, it will be easy for us to explain it to those who are listening in. You have the option in every encounter with him to let yourself react to his behavior or to let yourself react to what you have honed. And at first, it's going to be hard for you to react to what you have, to the vibrational environment that you've created about this subject, because it's a new subject to you. You haven't given a tremendous amount of thought to this subject. And he's really in your face with overt behavior that is difficult not to respond to.
yeah, like he cusses at me, and I'm like,
well, so we don't want to amplify it anymore. But so it's logical for you to respond to his behavior. And it would also be logical to you to respond to his behavior in a way that maybe would contain his behavior. Can you get louder? Could you cuss stronger? Could you put him in restraints? Could you make his life miserable? Could you put him on the naughty spot? Could you lock him up? In other words, you could respond to him. You could retaliate the response that you're feeling, but all that would do is perpetuate whatever's going on with him. So it doesn't work. It never works. So you might want to take the other option, which is not to respond to him, but to respond to what you've got going on. Well, unless you've really got a strong vibrational thing going on, that's going to be dominant and you're going to respond to that. So at first, that's going to dominate. But every time it does, so then you just get back to a general vibration. You say to yourself when you're not with him, I chose this work because I want to be of value. You say to yourself when you're not with him, we all have powerful inner beings. You say to yourself when you're not with him, he's got really strong desire. You say to him when you're not with him, and we're just saying when you're not with him because those are easier times to say it. And the more general you are, the easier it will be for you to find it and keep it active within you. This is going to be fun for me to deliberately create an opinion about him that isn't generated by the way he treats me. Hear that? This is going to be really fun for me to discover the opinion, the unconditional love opinion that my inner being, that the source within me and the source within him has about him. So then you might even feel inspired sometimes to say to him, you know what? I've decided how I feel about you, and you're not going to change my mind no matter how nasty you are to me. I've decided that I really, really like you no matter what. And you're not going to change my mind no matter how many bad words you say to me. So go ahead, but don't expect me to respond to that because I've already decided. Hey, I've already decided that you're a really good kid and that life's going to get better and better for you. So it doesn't matter how much you demonstrate otherwise. Now, some of this he will hear and understand and some of it he won't. And what you convey to him is not as important. That's not what this conversation that we're having is about. We don't really care what you convey to him because he's not going to hear it anyway because he's got a different trajectory going. But as you find that place and then feel yourself saying it, what the difference that's going to happen to you is you're going to be less confused all the time. He's not going to get your goat so much. You're not going to feel yourself reacting to him. And isn't that what everyone on the planet wants? Don't you want to stop reacting to conditions and start creating your own reality? Isn't that what you really want, you see? So when you come, as you are just determined to be there, and you come from that place of love, which is the only place that you'll ever be happy, he can be bad, he can be obnoxious, he can be breaking things even, and you cannot be budged from your place of loving. There's an understanding that comes with that this is just how it is for a little while, and it's not going to change the way I feel. And you can single-handedly offer a vibration that is resonant with your source and his, that will transform his view of life. But you got to be consistent in it. You can't be mad at him 1 minute and loving the next, and mad at him 1 minute and loving the next. In other words, you've got to decide how you feel about him. And the thing that we want to say to you is, you've got to find the him that is really him, not the him that is out there on the raw and ragged edge, just pulled apart from who he really is. Everyone is lovable. You've just got to be in that lovable place in order to find the love, because sometimes the love in others is buried pretty deep, covered up with resentment and orneriness and belligerence and violence and all kinds of things, you see. So then after a while, you can tell that you know what we're talking about. After a while, you'll say things to him like, you probably understand that I'm your friend, but you're my friend too. You might think that I'm your teacher, but you're my teacher too. In other words, because you've helped me figure out the thing that I've always wanted to understand in my whole life, and that's how to really love, to love somebody even when they're not in that moment maybe loving me.
He has really taught me that.
Yeah. Ooh. It's the best thing anybody could ever give anybody is that, because you'll be free. Then everything will be like you on a surfboard on the ocean, because nobody else will have any control over anything. And then we're not saying that then you'll be surrounded by belligerent people and you just won't care. That is not what will happen. What we're saying is you'll be free from that reaction to things. And when you are free from the reaction to things you can't control, then and only then are you free. And then you start having a whole different relationship, you see.
So I just have to maintain that, because what will happen?
Maintain it, but what you have to do, and you give us the best opportunity of saying what we've been wanting to say in a clear way all day. You got to do it when it's easy. When he's behaving that way, your reaction is natural. So you've got to practice this not in that reactionary time. You've got to practice this creating your vibrational nucleus when you're not with him, or when he's asleep, or when something wonderful is happening to you. And this is the other thing. We've been saying this all day, but you haven't heard it as clearly as you're going to hear it now. Creating this environment that we're talking about is a separate subject from him. We're not saying take that subject and think nice thoughts about it. That's hard. That's not a nice subject. That's the last subject in the world that you're going to think nice thoughts about when he's swearing at you. You just as soon beat him up a little bit or lock him up a little bit. In other words, don't ask yourself to do something that is vibrationally illogical. And so when we say separate this vibrational atmosphere that you're creating for yourself, separate it from him, because he's hard. You might say to him, I went home, when we were apart yesterday, I didn't think of you at all, and I had the best day. Because when I think about you, I worry about you, or I tense. And so I just had to put you completely out of my mind, and I just had the best day. And then I woke up this morning, I was feeling so good, and I could hardly wait to come and see you, because I was just feeling so good. I'm really glad to see you. In other words, explain it not just to him, but explain it to yourself, you see. And after a little while, you'll discover that you can create a vibrational environment around yourself, and then people who formerly have really bothered you either don't bother you or don't come around, because what's active in you is different than what formerly has been active in you when you've been in their presence. You're no longer letting what's active in them activated in you. That's what we've been wanting to say to you.
Thank you.
Really good. Yeah. It's fun. The lovable ones are really fun. Right here. The lovable ones are really fun. Come and activate that in me. Come on, come on, come on. But you kind of have to take it as it comes. You have to take it as you've invited it. Yes? Take it as you've invited it, and then mold what you're inviting vibrationally.